Hi guys, Fernandes Lembo, at least Fernandes in person, through the wizardry of Alexander Graham Bell. We got John Lembo on the line from State Tennis in Altamonte Springs. What's up, John?
Hello. How you doing?
What's going on?
Oh, just been here since Monday, watching some State Tennis. It's been a pretty interesting 3 days. Malia Bangura from ODA just won her quarterfinal singles match. She's the top seed. So she plays in the semifinals tomorrow morning. She won the whole thing last year, so she's looking to repeat in Class 1A.
Talk about the scene out there. We just talked before, different sites. What's it like? Just give maybe our fans, if you're a reporter trying to cover all this, are you bouncing around between sites, or what's it like?
Yeah, it's not spread out too bad. It's at 3 different parks. They had 4A and 2A Monday and Tuesday, and now it's 3A and 1A. And 3A is at one park, and the 2 and the 1A team and the 1A individual are at 2 different parks. It's a different format this year than in the past. The team tournament is now kind of like a bracket head-to-head, as opposed to how the district tournament is.
Sure.
So in 1A, for example, ODA's boys who qualified as a team, they're at one park, Red Bug Lake Park, and then Malia Bangura and Sydney Sforzo for ODA, who qualified as a singles and doubles team, they're at another park, Sylvan Lake Park. So the singles and the team are kind of at different sites. So yeah, it's a little spread out, but it's not bad. I think all parks are within like 15 miles of each other, so it's not that bad to keep track of everything.
Do the coaches and players seem to like this new format from what you're gathering?
Yeah, I mean the coaches I talk to like it. What they like about it is a lot of these kids play in the USTA and they play in tournaments and stuff, and all that stuff is individual. You're pretty much your own team. And with this format, it kind of allows the tennis players to be a part of a team. This is how they do it in college, and this is how it's done all season long in high school. So I think they like it. It's a little quirky how they do it. For example, ODA's boys played their doubles today at about 8. Their doubles, they start with doubles. And then they had to wait a few hours to play singles because they had to wait for the courts to be available and stuff. So that's a little quirky. But I think the coaches do like it because it does kind of, ramp up that team atmosphere that maybe tennis doesn't have all the time. I
agree. John, we read your story in today's paper on Riverview finishing second in 4A. They beat Orlando Olympia 5-hour, 1-4-3 at the comeback 90 minutes later against Western Cypress Bay. I guess there was some cramping. Talk about how proud Holly Holton was of her team regardless.
She was. I mean, that Olympia match, they lost the first 2 doubles in 3-set tiebreakers. Another new format. The third set, they do a 10-point pro set. It's no longer a regular set. So they lost both doubles, and Holly Holton was hoping to at least get a split there. And they lost those 2, and then a bunch of their singles players fell down, and all of a sudden they just ramped it up. And Antoine Sanchez had a big win at number 1, beating Caden Funk. Funk won the first set pretty handily, and Antoine came back and won the next 2. And then Charles Petrino, number 4 singles, pulling out the big win. So it was pretty emotional. They were pretty happy. It was getting kind of chippy between the 2 sides, Olympia and Riverview. There were some questions about some line calls, and so it was kind of getting and Olympia had kind of a loud cheering section. They're not far from the courts. So when Riverview won, they were really, really happy. It was a pretty emotional win, and unfortunately, by the time the finals came along, I think Riverview was kind of spent. But a great season for Holly Holton and the Rams, and as I mentioned in the story, all but 1 player is back next year, so they could be in this very same spot next season.
Yeah, I was impressed. I saw him in regionals. I was impressed by Charlie Petrino, and you mentioned Brandon Lepper's the only person who's leaving that team. They've had a continued successful run up there. You expect Holly Holton to keep it going up there with the players she has coming back?
Yeah, I mean, they got obviously Antoine's back next year. He and Finn Anderson, who was a new addition this year, were a great team, number 1 doubles. They got a good 3 in Gabriel Von Kessel. So yeah, I mean they're pretty stacked. If everyone comes back next season, they should be in pretty good shape. I'm curious what they'll do with number 2 doubles, because that was Brandon Lupp was on that team with Von Kessel. So you're curious if Petrino's going to take that spot, or maybe somebody else is. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason to believe that they won't be back here again next season as a team, or maybe if not as a team, maybe Sanchez and Van Anderson as a doubles team.
You know, John, you've been out there covering tennis. You haven't had a chance. We have some district softball finals. We have 6 teams competing. They're all going to be advancing, obviously, whether they win or lose. We got Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Booker at #1 seed Bayshore, Braden Rivers in it. Sarasota Christian gets in without even having to play a game. That's the nature of their district. But just talk about that. They're 15-1. They're in 2A6. Read your story. I mean, could they be going forward, going deep in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. You know, you look who they beat. They beat some pretty good teams. They beat the top-ranked team in Class 3A, Lakeland Christian. They beat the 10th-ranked team in 3A, Indian Rocks Beach. They split with Southeast, who's a 5A school. So, yeah, I think they got a shot. You know, they got Mackenzie Lance back this year. She lost all last year to a knee injury. She's kind of their spark plug at the top of the order. They have those 5 seniors who've been together for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, they get a shot. And now with this new 9-class format, they have one less round in classes 1A through 4A. So they're going right to the regional semifinals, not the regional quarterfinals. So they have to win one less game to get to state. So yeah, they got a shot.
Yeah, I was at the Booker Southeast game at their new complex. Not only did Booker win their first district tournament game at their new facility, they're in the regional tournament for the first time. Like I said, they're at Bayshore. And you got Sarasota state runner-up at Lakewood Ranch, the #1 seed. Last year, as you know, Lakewood Ranch lost to Braden River in the district semifinals, so they have something to play for. Those teams always seemingly go at each other no matter what the sport, right, John?
Yeah, pretty much, and especially in softball. You know, Lakewood Ranch has really had I got here in 05, but since I've been here, they've had a pretty competitive softball team, you know, every season. They had a couple of runs in state Final Four. They always seem to have a really good pitcher, one of whom, Melissa Dowling, is not coaching at Braden River. So, yeah, I mean, Lakewood Ranch always seems that they're there. And Sarasota, of course, last year, I think a 7A runner-up. So, and Braden River's having a great year. So, yeah, it just seems like the softball in this area is really starting to rise. More and more teams are not just becoming successful, but they're kind of sustaining that success, and that's what's really fun to see.
And a lot of these teams have a dominant #1 pitcher. Sarah Jenkins for Booker was really delivering it last night. It seems like a lot of teams have that #1 starter that can stop teams.
That's pretty much what you need because the further you go, it's kind of like baseball in the sense of you expect the further you go, the better the pitching is going to be. So, you know, you can't expect to, get to the Final Four and expect to score 8 runs to win. You have to have a pitcher who, if you give her 1 or 2 runs, you're going to win. And, Bayshore has that with Miriam Schmoll, and you mentioned Lakewood Ranch, and I think Braden River has that with Ali Yon. So, yeah, I mean, you really need, that girl in the circle who could go out, and if you give her 1 or 2 runs, that's going to be enough to get you through.
So we got those games coming up tomorrow. Weightlifting, very quickly, 1A and 2A. 26 area lifters competing in Kissimmee. Athlete of the week, Eric Kimsey, Braden River, pitcher and with the bat, helped beat Sarasota and Southeast. John, so you'll be there today when you're coming back, and next week we got baseball to look forward to, correct?
Yeah, we got baseball. Also on Friday night we got some lacrosse. St. Stephen's girls are home. Cardinal Mooney's boys are home. St. Stephen's won their first district championship last week, so it's their first state playing game on Friday night.
Fantastic. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to. School year coming to an end. But, John, we appreciate you calling in from site, and have a great day of coverage today. And we'll see you next week live here in the studio.
Sounds good, Bert.
Okay, take care, John. And one last thing before we go. Mea culpa. I screwed up in a story today. I wrote the Booker game story, and I misidentified the Booker head coach, Booker softball head coach, Jeff Murphy. So, Jeff, if I see you at the game tomorrow, I'll give my apologies today, but best of luck for advancing to the final tomorrow. So that about wraps it up here by myself. So for John Lemble, I'm Doug Fernandez, and we'll see you next week for On the Grid.